Well,
it's time to go.
It is time to go.
Today's the day. Actually, it's not the day. Today's a day.
Today's the lead up to the day.
It's the beginning, the first step. So it's the summer is very much over. So we made it all the way up to the West Fjords, the northern tip of the West Fjords, the Horn of Iceland, if you will. And that was really, honestly, that was the pinnacle of the trip. Like the whole time in the West Fjords, I've said this before, I think, but if I had my time again, I'd go straight there, non-stop. I'd check into Iceland, I'd wait for calm, I'd go straight to windward with all haste in the calm, and then I'd spend all the time up in the West Fjords enjoying it and then work my way back with the prevailing wind slowly. But that wasn't the way it played out for us. Okay, remember that for next time, eh?
Yep.
Anyway, it's time to go.
Back here in Reykjavik now.
Back here in Reykjavik, gale after gale is beginning. Even the locals, they're sort of sniffing the air going, summer is over.
I don't know how they recognise it. Suddenly like, oh, wow, if they think that summer's over, we need to head out. So that's what we're doing today. We are going to a set of islands called the Vestmannaeyjar, which is still part of Iceland. It's just the most southern part. It means that we can kind of head eastward, which is where we're in the direction that we're heading, but in shorter hops. So we can kind of go in between gales pretty much. Yeah.
So there was a gale just came through on Thursday? No, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yes.
And that's passed, and now the seas have calmed down since then. It's now Wednesday, and there's another one coming on Friday. So we have to make the most of this little gap in the weather and get down to sort of the staging area, being the Vestman Islands, so that we can wait for another window to either get to Faroe Island or lick the stamp and send it all the way down to the UK, which is our ultimate destination for this time of the year. One, because the weather will be, passable. Two, because we have to get out of Schengen, which is kind of mostly the point.
And pretty much in this area, UK is the only option.
There is a third reason, but it's too soon to tell you what it is yet. But it's very exciting, and it honestly is like, it really is the reason that we're in such a it really is the reason we're in such a hurry. But we'll tell you about that soon. It's really exciting.
Yep.
Say no more.
For now though, we're gonna head off and go for a sail today. 110 miles southeast. We are sailing. I haven't got full sails out, but I think we're kind of expecting, because the skies are grey, I think both Adam and I are expecting like bad weather to come, but it's actually only 15 knots. It's not at all. It should be, if this were blue skies, it would be a lovely day of sailing. But because there has been like crappy weather beforehand and the skies are still really grey, we got like 3 reefs and we're very well reefed on the jib as well. Just in case.
We're sailing way off course for the record.
Are we?
Yeah. We've got to keep it above 5 so we make our timings.
Yeah, but if we're going off in the opposite direction, then there's no point in keeping our timings. Anyway.
Sail for a few hours.
Such is a sailor's dilemma. We were both saying to each other earlier that are actually quite sad to leave. We've definitely really enjoyed ourselves here in Iceland, all the way up and down the coast. And I remember a week ago when we arrived back in Reykjavik, I was really glad to be back there. I was really happy. I'm like, hey, we're coming back to Reykjavik. And now we're leaving again, and we are still going to one place in Iceland, but it's sad. Like, I'm definitely going to be sad to leave this place.
Oh wow, right. We're here where we've just made landfall. They call it the Vestman Islands because it's an archipelago, but there's really only one main island. So we're just kind of weaving our way through the rocky outcrops. We're going to swing around and come into the harbour. We're going to get the mainsail down, and then we're going to pray that there's lots of places to park, which is something that I've been fretting about the whole way here. Because there's a bit of some pretty nasty weather coming through on Friday, and it's now, is it Thursday?
It's Thursday.
It's Thursday morning, Thursday midday actually. So I sort of want to make sure that we can pull up to a dock somewhere because there's nowhere else to go. So they have to take us. There's also another sailboat behind us, about 2 miles, who is going to be saying the same thing. So hopefully it's a smooth and easy process and we don't have to sort of barge our way in or raft up to some massive fishing boat or something crazy. We'll see.
And I just woke up. Tea for me, and then I'll catch up with what the hell we're doing and where we are.
So apparently, just over there on the right is the original home of the orca that played Free Willy. Apparently he either retired here or he started here, one of the two. And then in addition to that actually, another fun fact about the Vestmannaeyjar Islands, on the port side, you'll see this landmass here. Apparently, a volcano erupted here some time ago. And they were concerned that the lava flow was going to close the harbour mouth and trap everyone inside. And so apparently the US Navy was here at the time and they basically fired at it with water cannons and made it all set hard and managed to sort of dam the flow of lava and save the harbour mouth. And that's why it sort of juts out the way it does today.
Adam's Icelandic is failing.
My Icelandic must be really bad because they're not answering me. I know the port channel's active. I spoke to him on the phone a minute ago and said, yeah, I'll call you on 12 when I'm coming in. And then I heard other people using this channel and then I go, Vestmannaeyjar Harbour, and nobody answers.
Yes, I'll meet you in the marina and show you where you can park.
Fantastic.
Pretty amazing scenery coming in, but it is raining unfortunately, and we've mentioned in the last few videos that all of our camera equipment is just dying, so we have nothing waterproof. So you're just gonna have to assume on coming in that we will have docked in a few minutes, and then we'll film again when we have docked. Alright, we are here in Westman Islands, and we arrived yesterday, had our catch up on some sleep and tried to figure out what our next move was for the weather. We'll come back to that. But in summary, we are going to be here for 1 or 2 days more, so we figured that we'll just go for a little walk around the place. I took a little exploration yesterday and figured out a few walks that we can go on, pointed one of them out to Adam, and he's quite keen to go up there. So let's go and hike this massive hill, mountain, cliff thing up here.
Rained out, we're done.
We were not quite prepared for a wet weather hike.
I don't see it anymore really.
It's actually pretty gross out here, so we're gonna head back, maybe decide to do this tomorrow when the weather's a little bit nicer. The next day brought about better weather, so good in fact, that we decided to bite the bullet and use the chance to make some more eastward ground to the Faroe Islands. Good morning guys, it's the day after that kind of weather blew over, and we have decided that we're going to head off. Unfortunately it's been a really quick stay here in the Westman Islands, but we were never intending to stay here. It was really merely just to use this place as a safe port, which we have, but having been here, I wish that we could explore a little longer. Fortunately, at the moment today, the weather is calling us, and we must go. We're gonna head off to Faroe Islands, which is the next country, I guess you can call it. Next set of islands, next country along from here. It's about a 4-day sail from here, which is the south coast of Iceland, all the way over east to Faroe Islands. And forecast doesn't look too bad. It looks like a pretty calmish day today, but picking up, so it's a little bit windy, kind of closer to us getting to Faroe Islands, which is good, because the waves from yesterday, like there are still some 3-meter waves out there, which is fine, but they were 5 meters. So We're making the most of the weather that we have, just doing short hops eastward, further eastward, and yeah, just kind of carrying on really. Nice 4-day sail ahead of us. Is that a puffin? No, no puffin. Sorry. Cancel the puffin report.
Bye-bye, Vestman Islands.
Well, we are a few hours underway and things are getting a little bit chillier, but luckily the waves have calmed down a lot more. They're still pretty high, like we're still getting about 3-meter waves or so, which is about 12 feet. The frequency in between them, like the period between the waves, is actually a lot less. When we first came out of the Westman Islands, it was like every 5 seconds was just like a big wave, and we're getting rocking and rolling we got out of those islands, but thankfully it's calmed down a little bit. Sails are flapping because it is rolly, but we're still sailing at like 6 knots, so pleased with that. Amazing. At least the engine's not on.
What a spectacular way to send off Iceland, eh? Beautiful sunset like that. Snow-capped glacier, that's an oxymoron, isn't it? Beautiful glacier, just an epic like final picture of Iceland. And cherry on top, a whale just went just between us and the mountain.
Summary of Iceland. It was around day 2 of our passage that, unbeknownst to us, while we chatted and laughed merrily in front of the camera, our camera equipment had actually failed even more and now didn't record any audio. So please excuse the future dodgy audio that we have managed to save. The key takeaways was that we found ourselves heading further south to avoid a front that was to the north of us. We estimated that with the remaining 3 days weather window we had, we could make it as far as one of the most northern ports in UK, Stornoway in the Outer Hebrides. So we decided to head southeast to Scotland instead of the Faroe Islands. It's suddenly got a bit gloomy, hasn't it? Well, that weather that was building up north has finally come to find us. The wind's actually picking up now, only to about 20 knots downwind, but it just means that the waves they're getting higher, they're definitely getting higher. We've also just seen a little rip in our sail. Luckily it's kind of where the seams are, so I think it looks like the stitching has literally just been degraded, like UV degradation or something. And it's just come undone because of that, but not ideal when we still have 2 days left of our passage. So at some stage, it's literally just bucketed rain. So at some stage when the sails are drier, we'll go up there with some patching tape. It's an awkward angle. Sorry, it's an awkward place to have to patch the sail, to like sew the sails. So we're just going to try patching it for now with some sticky Dacron that we have. And when the sail dries, fingers crossed that will last us another 48 hours, just until we get to port and we can do some more permanent fixes on it then. Yeah, it's an old sail. That's just what happens. When the sail was finally dry, we were able to put some sticky Dacron on top of the hull and patch it. We are in a race. Not with another boat though, with the weather. And we're about 24 hours away from arriving in the Outer Hebrides in Scotland. Very, very excited. This has been it hasn't been a long passage, but it's just, it's obviously been longer than expected. We were kind of expecting like a 2.5–3 day passage, or maybe a bit longer, 3 days. And it's now ended up to be a 4.5–5 day passage. So it's longer than we were expecting, and I need to wrap my head around it. But we are about 24 hours out, and pretty much like within a few hours of us arriving, there's this scary looking weather system that's just rolling around, and predict wind, which is what we have offshore, our weather forecasting system that we have offshore, has like some very dire colours for when the wind gets above 25 knots. It suddenly turns like dark red, black, like scary looking colours. So we're looking at this and we're going, oh my god, I do not want to be in that. I really, really want to be at anchor for when that comes. And so we are currently racing the weather. Don't like to put ourselves in this situation, but it is what it is. 24 hours to go and we are racing. Well, it's shift change, 5 o'clock in the morning. If I look tired, it's because I am very, very much. I've been motor sailing through the night, just trying to, like the wind angle to try to get to this place is not ideal, and the motor's just helping us along there. And also there's only like 12–11 knots of wind, so on a pretty cruisy passage, which we didn't have to beat whatever it is that's coming, a storm, a gale, some strong winds. The motor would 100% be off and would just be doing a nice cruisy like 4.5 knots or something, but we have a schedule to keep. We can see land though. I can see some land. Adam and I were debating the other day what the Outer Hebrides is going to look like, and there we go. There's a little bit of mountain, but some of it's flat, so it's cool. At least we can start to see it now. Awesome. We've 35 miles to go into the top of the island. Not long now. We're just so eager to get there. I'm so ready. I'm so ready for just arrival. I am.
Bye, Iceland flag. Good to see you.
Well, we have about 30 miles to go, dead straight into the wind and swell, and I think maybe the wind has picked up a little earlier than what we thought. We're seeing about 22s, gusting up to about 24, 26. So only another 5 hours or so, but we just need to get there. It's just going to be really, really lumpy, really gross. Yeah. Dolphins are really having fun out here though. They're on the bow, playing around. Adam is not running out this time to go and see them. We would get absolutely cringed if we did. How are things going?
Just have to motor sail, tack our way down the channel against pretty horrendous angles, but a big squall just blew through, which kind of messed everything up. So hoping that subsides in the next 20 minutes and we can get a better angle, and just want to get there. Honestly, we're in it now. There's nowhere to go. We just have to press through it, and hope we get in before the worst of it.
So we're finally coming into the harbour now. The weather once again did what it did before and got a little bit worse. I think maybe a squall was coming through just as we were entering or just as we were coming in, but it seems to have calmed down a tiny bit now. So into the new anchorage and try and find a place to anchor. Hopefully somewhere that will protect us from this nasty swell. It's not going to be a pleasant few days, I think, at anchor.
No need to anchor. Got a spot on the T-dock at the marina.
It was actually not our intention. We would have happily gone to anchor, but everywhere there was like 15 meters, just way too close for us.
I wish I could. I need to figure out a way to put a note on that chart because it is not at all what
it's not an anchorage.
It's being dredged out to be a cruise ship dock, and so it's you know what says 8 meters of water is like 15. The whole area is 15. There's pylons everywhere, and it's got a big green hatch anchorage area, which is just rubbish. Not true.
So we called up the a marina, like pretty much the only number that was actually on our charts, and we called them up, and then we decided to come in here. Down the got all the lines out, got fenders out, and Adam's like, okay, I'm going to start making my approach. What are you
so I was in reverse at about 1500 RPM doing 3 knots forward down the channel with 20 knots behind me. Thank Christ, as I came round this corner and got in the lee of all these buildings, that it all dropped off and got really calm, because it was
in reverse doing 3 knots forward. What?
And it's really narrow here, like it's super narrow, so there was no like quick hook a quick U-bolt and drive out. It was I'm glad I wore the brown pants today. Put it that way.
We're here. We are here. We had a really warm welcome from the guy here, and we're in bloody Scotland. How cool is that? Yes.